Hi everyone, this is step 2, or the next conversation when it comes to self-care. So in the first step, I talked about selfishness. In this second step, we're going to build on self-sabotage and the masking of basically depression when looking at self-care. In a lot of ways, I'm starting to see self-care as this internal fire, this internal need to take care, protect your needs. And when we have adopted certain habits in life that have made us almost act out of fear and do things that we don't really want to do, we quite often fall into the second concept of self-care, which is self-sabotage masked as depression. Because a lot of the things in self-care that have to do with the things that we didn't do, prioritize properly, we end up falling into these droves of depression. And a depressed person does not always look completely disheveled. There are varying types of depressed people. Some people can look absolutely put together flawlessly, but still feel depression. And so you'll see a level of self-care, a version of self-care, a falsified version, in my opinion, that has to do with putting things off. So it's like, I'm going to take a self-care day. I'm going to take the day off from work. Now, let's talk about that example because a lot of people, especially men and women alike, have to do work out of the fear spectrum, the way that this world has been made. Have to do work, almost forced to do work. Some of us take on work that we would absolutely never want to do, but we do it because we have to. And that's a very different thing than working out, for example. Because the system of having a job and working at a job and having money to pay your bills and all of these things, while at its most human form, it has to do with community, productivity, all of these things. There's a fear-based system that's truly running this versus a love-based system. There's a fear-based system that if you don't work a job or not do the things that you're supposed to do, that you will suffer punishment. You will not have money, you will not have resources. And so a lot of people get jobs that are meant to be, and it has a lot to do with productivity, techniques, and skills, and developing those things and having something worthwhile and purposeful to do on a daily basis. A lot of things like jobs are used now just for making money. So you can have people who have jobs, they don't do very well at the job, right? But as long as they're bringing in money, they're paying they have the money that the job gives them, then it's worth it. They're paying their bills, then it's worth it. But in a lot of ways, somebody who works at a job that they don't like, that they don't apply themselves to, that they don't feel productive in, or don't feel like they're building their skills or the technique, if they're not truly applying themselves, then these people are just as much empty vessels as the lazy, dusty people that you peg that don't have jobs. This leads me to that example of taking the day off as a self-care day, when a lot of that has to do with escaping, right, from a job that you don't want to really be a part of, that you don't really want to do. Okay? So there's a really big difference between making yourself work out, having an appointment to work out, having an appointment to go to the doctor's office, versus having to go to work in today's day and age. Because when you have to work out, you may not want to, but you know that ultimately this is productive to your body in the moment and in its after results. And when it comes to these pointless jobs, a lot of people aren't productive in the moment, even though it yields results. So, this idea that people can be spoiled because they don't do anything but expect things. Just because you have a job doesn't mean that you can't also participate in those kinds of energies. Because a lot of people work a job that they don't like. They don't apply themselves emotionally, mentally, or passionately to the productivity, the technique, even though they don't want to do it or it's not great to them. They're not applying themselves, and yet they still yield a check. So is this about bashing jobs? No, it's about understanding when we make ourselves do something that we don't want to do, and the nuances between making yourself do something that's healthy for you that you don't really want to do versus not. So this is why we do things like, let me take the day off from my job as a self-care day, or let me not do this activity as a self-care activity. But self-care is active. Self-care isn't pushing things off. And a lot of the times we mask self-care as escapism, because the core element of our lives is the actual problem, is the actual lack of self-care. So we'll say things like, oh, I'll just, I'm going to have a self-care and I'm going to eat this huge meal that's going to make me feel stuffed and awful afterwards. Or I'm going to have a self-care day and I'm going to splurge on these things even though I don't really have the money for it. I'm going to have a self-care day and I'm going to spoil myself and not do the things that I normally do, not participate in the things that I should be participating. And all of this is masks of self-care, when in a lot of ways it's escapism of depression. And depression comes from doing activities that aren't fulfilling, these little activities that aren't fulfilling, and doing them over and over again, and are forcing ourselves to do those things. So that's why I say the nuance of having a job that you don't get anything out of it, like productivity, enhancing your skills and techniques, is very different than a fitness routine. Because without a doubt, every time you apply yourself to do a fitness routine, during it and after it, you're getting results. It is biochemically helping you. It's one of the truest self-care routines, is to do a fitness routine. And then a lot of people don't want to do it. There's some people who are cosmically made to want to get in the gym every day. But there's a lot of people who aren't, but they still need to work out. They don't have to get in the gym, but they have to work out. And so if you're the type of person that's like, yeah, I can see that working out, being more fit is good for me, but I don't really want to do it. But I need to make an appointment with myself and do it. Either sign up for a group class, sign up for an online class, do an online workout, whatever. I may not want to do it, but I know in doing it that it's going to benefit me in the long run. That's an active self-care concept that a lot of us don't understand, including myself. It took me a long time to understand what true self-care is, because it has a lot to do with doing sometimes the things that you don't want to do. But don't mix it up with the fear-based system, of doing things that you don't want to do. Which brings me into the concept of looking at your own actions when you choose self-care, and really being real with yourself about what that is. Yes, there may be days where you absolutely love your job, you're building yourself up, and you just need a day off, and that is a self-care day. But a lot of people aren't doing that. A lot of people are posing like, I slave at my job, I don't really like it, I don't really apply myself, I don't really get much out of it, but at least it pays the bills. And then you wonder why you have to take a self-care day off, or you are still very upset at life because you spend most of your time at this job and you're not really getting anything out of it mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So self-care would be to start looking for work, vocational work, a job, a service that you actually can develop skills from. Maybe you still may not even want to get up and do it every day, but as you continue to develop these skills, you are being fulfilled because you're building a technique, and you're also probably connecting more with people because they really like the technique that you have and the service that you have. So you may not want to get up and do it every day, but it's a self-care act to get up and do a job now that allows you to be productive, allows you to sharpen your skills, allows you to connect and serve with people, and now a job truly is self-care. So this concept about self-sabotage, depression, and masking self-care off of escapism is important to me because of my journey with it. And I really want to share with people how it's the nuances and recognizing what true self-care is. And in a lot of ways, when I say, oh, I'm going to put off this workout because I don't feel like it, I used to mask that as self-care. I'm not doing well today. Maybe if, yes, I didn't have enough sleep that night, maybe, this happens. My daughter wakes me up in the middle of the night. I don't have enough sleep. I'm feeling drowsy. Then, yeah, putting off a fitness, obligation would be self-care in that nuance. But a lot of the times I was just like, I'm depressed, I'm sad, I don't feel like working out, I don't feel like doing it, and pushing off the workout regimen, when in fact doing it would be the actual self-care, not doing it because I don't feel like it. So I hope that this message will help somebody, even just one person, see the nuances and what true self-care is, and start to make the little steps towards true self-care and making it something that's a part of your life on a regular basis. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.